We have already spoken about our experience in e-commerce business. And the most live, close, and real example of it is Hepsi Burada app. We were lucky enough to work with this first 1 billion Turkish lira worth company, and we doubled their conversion rates. As a result, we were expecting to receive our Hawaii tickets. We didn't get, indeed, but they were kind enough to be one of our sponsors. Please welcome Head of Products for Hepsi Burada, Gökhan Besen.
Thank you, Kerem. Thank you for coming. Actually, I was planning to do this in Turkish, but in order to keep the line going, I will continue in English. I had to translate all stuff in English in half an hour, so sorry for some inconsistencies if you just noticed. I will talk about insanity, insanity of going responsive. Actually, when we say insanity, sometimes for a company like us, it's insane for changing stuff because we are operating at a very high speed when it comes to retail business, like all other retail businesses. And it's insane to change something when actually you try to do, you see people telling you that you are insane to change that. So actually my definition of insanity is, I would like to prefer Einstein's quote about that. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is insane itself. So instead of changing something, not changing it is insane sometimes. And last year, when we look at our 2014 roadmap, we have changed a lot of things. And I will talk about some of them today, which impacts the user experience for the sake of this event. So we have started with the new checkout development. We have launched it in early June, but actually it has started way before, in 2013. And this is mainly because we needed to change our backend systems. And things like this doesn't happen every time. I mean, you don't come up with a design change idea and do it. Some other things need to happen as well. At least for now, it has been like that. So we needed to change our backend systems, and those times are very good opportunities for also changing and improving user experience. So we work with best agencies in Istanbul, and we have done tons of testing, user testing, and we launched our new checkout on desktop site. And by desktop site, I imply that we had a mobile site, but we didn't have a mobile site yet at that time. And that was another problem. So the second thing we did was to create a mobile checkout system. And since we already had the mobile apps, we used this system in our iPhone and Android and iPad applications. And also we have redesigned iPhone and Android applications from scratch. And that actually made a quite big impact because we weren't actually leveraging the mobile traffic as good as we should. So after that, we have introduced the anonymous basket functionality in, again, desktop checkout. And this enabled users to be able to go to their baskets without having to log in. And this itself has increased the traffic on the basket to increase like 40%. And you know what happens after they enter the funnel. So following that, we have renewed our login and sign up screens because we also needed to introduce a new functionality, which is the guest checkout, which Vitaly has recently talked about. And it's quite hard to speak after him about responsive, but we are also doing this. So I will do my best to explain what's going on in Hepsiburada. So after that, we have released our mobile site, which started in early April. So when we launched the site, we didn't know actually what's coming, but it looks like 2014 was the year of mobile for us, because actually our traffic grew 2.7 times in terms of web traffic I'm talking about, excluding apps, but our revenue grew like 4 times. So if you're a new company, 4 times might be a good number to you, or might be a low number to you, but we are a 12-year-old company, and increasing the revenue by means of times is quite impressive for us. So we were quite happy with it. So when it comes to this year actually is the year of responsive for us. We are going to launch our responsive site. There have been numerous talks about this before. You might have heard in the news. But it's going to be the responsive site's launch. And why we are doing this? It's easy. It's not a rocket science, but actually screens got smaller and larger. So from 2 sides, you are being pushed to create experiences consistently. But you can't do it unless you provide the convenience for the user. So this 80% means the 80%, more than 80% of the users using desktop devices actually have 1,200 pixels and higher resolution. That means our existing site is actually quite small in that screen, and we are losing a lot of real estate. And in retail, there is a word goes like this: don't leave any white space. So given my design background, actually I like white space. I like the use of white space, but retail business doesn't like it that much. So we started building our new site. But this is not just a design change. I have mentioned before, we have started to build our mobile site first. And mobile site actually is the new infrastructure for the new site. So 2 sites started running on the same time, starting from last year, September. So what are the pros and cons of using a responsive site? For us, the single URL is one of the most important issues, because search engine optimization is quite important. Single backend is another one that actually reduces the development cost. And it also means that you have faster time to market. So when it comes to negatives, actually it's not a negative thing. It's not necessarily a negative thing, but there's a higher design effort. Higher design effort means you have to design each page for every breakpoints in order to understand what's going to happen, and it doesn't always work. For example, in our product details page, we have close to 20 different use cases, and these use cases have to work in all the breakpoints of the responsive layout. So it's quite difficult. So when you look at one page, you see one page, but we see like 80 pages. And it's not just ending with designing it, it also has to be developed. So there has to be some other development efforts as well in the front-end side. So another one is the differentiating interactions. By this I mean sometimes in mobile, the gestures are just better. You just want to swipe the screen and stuff, but you don't want to do the same thing on desktop. So there are some differentiating interactions, and this makes mobile a little bit different. So you have to manage mobile differently in some cases. So your backend system should be allowing that. But also the new site design also brings a new information architecture, which by that I mean the navigation system. So we didn't want to just replicate the existing site. We wanted to provide the world-class information architecture in New Hepsiburada. So we started a 3-month study, a qualitative study with our customers, and we wanted to create a better information architecture. So it started with the diary study. For 30 days, we have actually, we wanted our 30 participants to keep their shopping diaries and report this to us using WhatsApp. So they have reported everything they are buying every day. So we started to analyze their inputs and analyze their mental models, how they find the products, how they group the products, and it helped us to understand the information architecture in their minds, because information architecture is a very local know-how. It requires a local know-how. And if you want to get this local know-how, you have to get in the field and talk to these users. So the second study is the shadowing study. Actually, with 15 participants, we went shopping together. Regardless of what they are buying, in different categories, they went shopping. In 18 different shopping mall districts, we went shopping together, and it took like 32 hours of study. And after that, since we are in Istanbul, it doesn't cover the whole nation. So we had to call our customers outside of Istanbul and made some contextual interviews with them. So as a result, we have generated 2 new navigation systems. And we have compared these navigation systems with our existing navigation system and one of the competitors' navigation system. And in order to do that, we selected around 100 products, and we have conducted a 3 testing study, which is online, with 320 participants. So this brings us to A/B testing. Why? Because when you are running a qualitative testing, you can never be sure, or you can't conceive everyone with these results, because these are qualitative tests, and 500 people is never enough. We have heard things like, I don't care how many people you have tested, I want this here. No, the business just asks you to do this. So if you want to convince people, you have to provide more quantitative data, which is actually A/B testing here for. For A/B testing, I would like to do this analogy. A/B testing is the crash test of the digital world. It's really the crash test. Your ideas, your design thoughts, your hypothesis, even your business model can be tested in the digital world, unlike offline world. Because in the offline, you just do the business, and you don't have the chance to A/B test everything. But in digital, you have. And if you don't test anything, actually, you are risking all your money, and you will never know you are going to succeed or not. So this is why sample size does matter. So sample size is the minimum number of users you should be testing. I heard lots of times from people that they say, we have tested this and it works. Then this thing happens, conversion increases. And I asked them, which tool did you use? They say, what tool? What tool are you talking about? Because they don't use any tool. Their testing method is actually doing something and then watching what happened next after the second day. That's not testing. That's just, I don't know what we can call this, but that's not testing. Testing should happen at the same time with the same environment, within the same environment. All the effects should be equally affected in these variations. So, in the last 6 months, we have ran like more than 100 A/B tests. And we have tested 6 million plus users. Actually, we didn't test these users because we were testing our hypothesis, our software, and they were testing us, without knowing it, of course. The best part of this was collecting the online user feedback. We have collected over 20,000 user feedbacks. And you know, the hardest thing, the crash test moment of A/B testing is reading these user feedbacks every day, because every day they are punching your head with their comments, ruthless comments, and you have nothing to do about that. I mean, they don't even leave their email address, and they just stare at you, just because they can't find, for example, the navigation. But it's all your fault. And we understand that we are doing a good job when the comments are made on our products which we sell. This means we are invisible in terms of user interface, and they are actually interacting with the product instead of our user interface. We want to be invisible, actually. So our new redesign is not invisible, I have to admit, but it's doing good. And we can't stop. This image is taken from a NonStop high-speed train project. They are trying to build a NonStop high-speed train which never stops. It makes sense because since it never stops, you don't waste time embarking or other operations. So it's going to be faster, blah, blah. And a second train actually approaches the high-speed train, and they transfer the passengers. And then they detach, and the embarked passengers are routed to their city locations. We are trying to do a similar thing. We are trying to create a new train that's faster and that's bigger, and that will take all the existing load and then continue at a higher speed. So we are quite trying to do the same thing. For Hepsiburada, our new website means better product selection and better shopping experience. And finally, what does this slide have to do with this event? Because this is not a UX. This is a UX. Sorry, this is a UX conference. But I have to talk about Agile Processes. We have started this project 13 months ago, and we have launched our mobile site on September. So our new site actually started working from that day. And when we first launched the mobile site, it was really bad. It was even performing worse than our non-mobile optimized site. So it was shocking. But we have continued iterations and improvements on that, and built our new responsive site on that infrastructure. And this was possible because of Agile Processes. We have one-week sprint cycles, which means every week we prioritize the most important stuff we have to do to make this site better. So until now, we have completed more than 50 sprints, and it just got better and better. So I can say our new website has not been launched yet, but its traffic is growing. I assume some of you might have been one of our test users, because there's a 14% of chance that you run into our new website. It's live, and we are always making new releases each week. We make the release to the test environment. There's a controlled environment we have created. We are letting like 50,000 people to use our new site every day, and we are checking their conversions, feedbacks all the things we can learn, and we don't stop there. We conduct in-person user tests, and whatever we can do for that. So this is a simplified agile process diagram. In the design and development part, we do qualitative searching, and we work with our product teams. That's more important, because we don't have different teams, like design team or software development team and user interface team. We have a product team that is responsible of the success of this product. And we don't have only one product, of course. We have 3 products, at least 3. So we have more than that. But we are growing. So thanks to Agile Processes, and this is the new look of Hepsiburada. If you type in hepsiburada.com, there's a 14% chance of getting into this new version. So enjoy. Thanks for watching.